Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level speaking lesson, and today we're going to be learning about the United States holiday called President's Day. Because this is a speaking lesson, I'd encourage you to answer the prompts out loud, and if you would like some feedback, you can record yourself on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook Messenger, and I'll leave the hashtag in the description to this video. So in this lesson, we'll think about presidents. So who is the current president of the United States? What do you know about this person? Do you know any presidents of other countries? And what does a president do? And again, you can answer those questions aloud, or if you prefer to write, you can put them in the comments. But be sure to respond to the prompts, at least out loud to yourself, to give you some practice speaking. So what does a president do? So below are some of the things that a president might do. So you want to match the headings to the descriptions. And you can pause the video and try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So the president is the leader of the country, which means they make important decisions about how the country runs. They work with other leaders to keep the country safe, prosperous, and fair for everyone. So that would be lead the country. When the government creates a law, the president has to sign it to make it official. This means they read the law and decide if they agree with it. If they do, they sign it so that it becomes a real law that everyone has to follow. So that would be sign laws. The president is like a spokesperson for the country. They meet with other leaders from different countries to talk about important issues and make agreements that will benefit both countries. That would be represent the country. The president is also in charge of the military. They decide when to send the military to protect the country or to help other countries that need it. That would be command the military. The president is always thinking about how to help people. They work with other leaders to create programs that help people who need it, like providing health care or helping kids get a good education. That is help people. Now here are some vocabulary words that you want to match with the definitions. Again, you can pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check the answers. So agreed and being formally used, that would be official. Number 2. Providing medical care, such as doctors and hospitals, that would be health care. A person who speaks for a group or an organization, that would be number 3, spokesperson. Rich and successful, that's number 1, prosperous. And to make sure that somebody or something is not harmed, injured, or damaged, that would be to protect. Now complete each sentence with a word from the boxes, and you may need to change the form of the words. So the government must protect its citizens from external threats, such as terrorism or invasion. The law will only be official after the president signs it. It's promised to train new doctors to improve access to health care for all citizens. The press secretary acts as the president's spokesperson to communicate with the public. And the president's goal is to create a prosperous economy that has jobs and opportunities for everyone. George Washington was the first president of the United States. How much do you know about him? So you can read the following statements and predict whether they are true or false. So George Washington was a leader of the Continental Army during the American Revolution. Washington was educated in basic subjects, including reading, writing, and mathematics, but he didn't attend college. And during Washington's time as president, Washington, D.C. became the capital of the United States. So just take a guess as to whether you think each of those is true or false. All right, so now you'll have the opportunity to read the text. Again, for speaking practice, I would encourage you to pause the video and read this out loud, or you can follow along as I read. So first we have some vocabulary. General here is a noun, a leader of very high rank in the army. Elect, a verb, to choose somebody to do a particular job by voting for them. And stable is an adjective meaning secure and safe. So George Washington was the first president of the United States. He was born on February 22nd, 1732 in Virginia. Before becoming president, he was a farmer and a general in the army. During the American Revolution, he led the Continental Army to victory against the British. This made him a famous war hero and leader. In 1789, Washington became the first president of the United States. He was elected because people trusted him and believed he would make a good leader. As president, he created a strong and stable government. He also helped to start many of the traditions and practices that are still used today. George Washington was important because he helped shape the United States into the country it is today. He led the country during a time when it was just starting, and his leadership helped set the foundation for the country to grow and prosper. He was a strong and fair leader who always put the needs of the country first. Because of his leadership, he is remembered as one of the most important figures in American history. So, when was George Washington born? Well, February 22nd, 1732. What did he do before becoming president? He was a farmer and a general in the army. When did he become president? In 1789. Why was he chosen as president? Because people trusted him and believed he would make a good leader. And why is he an important person in U.S. history? Because he helped shape the United States into the country it is today. All right, look at the sentences below, and can you explain the words in bold in your own words? So at the end of the semester, there will be a sports award presentation to honor those who have represented the school in competitions. The United States is a federal country with both state and national governments. In many countries, people observe New Year's Day on January 1st. At the end of each year, I like to reflect on everything that has happened and think about the things I have done. And our experiences shape who we are and how we view the world. So again, you can record your answers or write them in the comments if you would like some feedback. All right, now here are some actual definitions for those words that we just looked at. To show great respect for somebody or something is to honor. To celebrate an event or holiday is to observe. Connected with national government and not the local government of an individual state, that is federal. To have an important influence on the way that somebody or something develops, that is to shape. And to think carefully and deeply about something is to reflect. Here's another text about the creation of President's Day, and then you can read and then decide if these are true or false. Again, you can pause the video, read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. President's Day is a holiday in the United States that honors all of the country's presidents. It began as a way to celebrate George Washington's birthday, which is on February 22nd. Over time, the holiday became a way to recognize all the presidents who have led the country. In 1971, President's Day was officially declared a federal holiday. It is observed on the third Monday in February. On this day, many schools and businesses are closed, and there are often parades and other celebrations to honor the presidents. It's a time for Americans to reflect on the important role that presidents have played in shaping the country. So President's Day is a day to remember George Washington as the most important president. Oh, that's false. It actually started as the celebration of his birthday, but now it's to honor all presidents. At first, people celebrated on George Washington's birthday. That's true. The date of President's Day changes from year to year. Well, that would be true because it's the third Monday in February, but that could be a different numbered date. And President's Day is a time for Americans to remember how presidents have helped the country grow. That is true. Okay, the official name of this holiday remains Washington's birthday. However, it is no longer observed on February 22nd, and it now celebrates all presidents, not just George Washington. These days, different people write the holiday name in different ways, with each having a slightly different meaning. So President's Day, when it's spelled President apostrophe S, this suggests that the day celebrates one president, probably the current president, or the position of the president. President spelled S apostrophe, this version suggests that it is a day for many or all of the presidents. And President's Day without any apostrophe, this version does not use an apostrophe and so does not mean a day that belongs to the presidents. Instead, it is a day for people to think about the presidents. However, most people do not care greatly about these differences, and all three can be seen. So how much do you know about the presidents of the U.S.? Match the 5 presidents to their descriptions. Again, you can pause the video, try this on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So guided the country through the Great Depression and World War II and made many social and economic changes. That would be Franklin D. Roosevelt. Led the country through the Civil War and is credited with saving the Union, helping to end slavery, and modernizing the economy. That was Abraham Lincoln. The author of the Declaration of Independence, who expanded the size of the country through the Louisiana Purchase and promoted individual liberty and religious freedom. That would be Thomas Jefferson. Led the country through World War I and helped to make the U.S. a bigger influence internationally. That was Woodrow Wilson. And the first president of the United States who led the country through the Revolutionary War and played a big part in establishing the U.S. government. That was George Washington. So what kind of person should be president? So you can read the opinions and then add in the comments or make a spoken response with a video to indicate whether you agree or disagree and why or why not. So Azad says, I think the president should be someone honest. The president needs to make important decisions for the country, and we need to be able to trust that they are telling the truth. If they lie, it will be hard for people to believe what they say in the future. Shalena says, the president should be a good listener. They need to hear the opinions of people from all over the country, not just the ones who agree with them. By listening to different viewpoints, they can make better decisions that benefit everyone. Akaki says, I think the president should be someone who cares about people. They should be kind and want to help others. The president has a big impact on people's lives, and it's important that they care about making things better for everyone, not just themselves. And Louis says, I believe that a good president is someone who is confident. They need to be able to handle pressure and make tough decisions. If they are not confident, they might make bad choices or be easily influenced by others. So, celebrating President's Day, have you experienced any of these celebrations, and can you think of other ways to celebrate President's Day? So, eating cherry pie. This comes from a story of George Washington cutting down a cherry tree when he was a boy. Reading speeches and writings from presidents. Some people remember the presidents by reading important things that they said or wrote. And sales and promotions. After the holiday was moved to a Monday, some businesses started offering special sales and promotions. Now think about other holidays that you or other countries that you know well. Is there a holiday similar to President's Day in your country? And if so, do you know how and why it started? What other days are there to celebrate important people? And what happens on these days? President's Day remembers how presidents have helped the U.S. What other groups of people do you think should have a holiday and why? Well, Wynn says, I think there should be a holiday for firefighters because they risk their lives to save others. They are so brave and work hard to keep us safe. A public holiday would be a great way to say thank you and to show respect for these heroes. And you can put your own thoughts either in the comments or record a video. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, participate in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.